Hey guys, back again with another video showcasing a new build that I just finished putting together. So just wanted to cover some of the parts and pieces here in case anybody's interested in doing something similar. This is a 10.5-inch AR pistol, mostly from F-1 Firearms, and there are some other pieces here that I slapped together, but they're all very high end. They all fit the theme here of the skeletonized AR pistol, and they're all very well built components, from the handguard to the rest of the chassis, the bolt carrier, everything else. So let's start from the back and I'll work my way up. So this is the Sterile Industries Viper PSB. It is a stabilizing brace. What's nice about this thing is that it's spring-loaded, so it's got this little button here at the bottom, and you just press it in, and it extends out in one motion. And it comes with its own shortened buffer tube, extend castle nut, this little cheek well right here, and its own spring, which if you look at it in comparison to the standard AR spring, it's a flat spring. It's not a rounded coil. And what I mean by that is the actual metal as it coils. The metal itself on a standard spring is typically like a round piece of aluminum that's just kind of wrapping around. This thing is it's flat, so the metal, basically when it compresses, it's going to compress to a flatter size than the rounded spring, which would probably not compress as much just given its density. So with that said, working our way up here, this is the skeletonized pistol grip from F1, and it's the one with the finger grooves. I love the way that feels. Sorry, my dog is singing in the background. But very skeletonized. A lot of areas that have been milled out of this thing. Save a lot of weight, but it's very solid. And connected to that is the F1 chassis. Now this is the UBR-15 chassis. A lot of you guys have probably seen the BDR-15, which was, I don't want to say it was their first, but it was one of their first skeletonized chassis. It's probably one of the most popular ones that are on YouTube. But this is the next gen, the UBR, and it's just got bigger cutouts and less of them. So with the BDR, it's got a lot of these little slits on the side, but they're smaller. And then pretty much the rest of it kind of looks the same. They don't have the slits on the BDR that they do on the front of the lower right here. So if you can see that, the lower is also skeletonized from the front end. And that's one of the other differences. But aside from that, it's pretty much similar in every other way. Same thing with the top. So the top is scalloped. It's kind of hard to see because the Raptor charging grip right there is also black, so you can see those holes that are cut out to the top of the receiver. And that's another difference with this one versus the BDR. But all in all, the skeleton is awesome. If you guys don't know about F1 Firearms and some of the unique things that they have with regards to their upper and lower receiver, a lot of where you would find areas that have detents and springs, you typically get screws with F1, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to build your AR. So for example, the bolt catch pin that's normally in here is actually a screw. So rather than to have to tap the pin in here and sacrifice marring your lower or your upper, it gives you the option of just having a thin screw that easily goes in. They provide you with the Allen key for it and everything, so really nice there. Same thing with the detent for the safety. So it's already pretty much or not for the safety, I'm sorry, for the takedown pins. So when you first get this, the takedown pins have already been installed. And the detent that holds this pin down is actually held in with a screw. The one on the front is just a standard spring and detent, so it's not a screw there. But again, a really nice touch from a company that knows that it's a pain in the ass sometimes to build these things, and to not end up scratching or marring your receivers. So they went one step ahead and did all that extra work for you, and made some little convenient additions to this receiver. So another cool thing about this receiver is that they have another screw that's right behind the pistol grip screw. And what this screw does, it's got a little rubber tip on the screw, and it's right underneath here. So if this thing was see-through, you'd be able to see it. But anyways, it pushes up against the lug that holds this pin down, so that if you have any play in your receiver, you can tighten it down, and you can create that friction or that pressure up against that lug in order to tighten everything down so you don't have any play. And it's, obviously adjustable as time wears, or as time goes by and you wear down your gun a little bit more. Obviously things loosen up, so you can always go back in there and tighten it as needed. So this is a CNC two-stage trigger. It's a 2-pound trigger, 2 pounds on the initial pull, 2 pounds on the brake. So really, if you're adding it all up, 4 pounds, but the actual brake part is what I count, because that's the part where it's the more unpredictable part of the trigger pull, and it's only a 2-pound pull once you get to that stage. This is a City Rifleworks BCG. This is their titanium nitride coated bolt, and it is also skeletonized, if you could see right there on the back end. It's still pretty heavy. It's definitely not like a competition type bolt where it's titanium or it's had a lot of stuff milled out. It's just more to give it a little bit of a lighter feel while not having to give you a reason to have to tweak your gas system in order to incorporate a lightweight bolt. So it's not too light, but it is lighter than a standard bolt. Really well made. It's got a beautiful polished finish to it. It looks sick, especially on this build where you could see pretty much all of it through the chassis here. So moving forward, this is an SLR Rifleworks Handguard here. This is their 11-inch, what's called their Helix line, and it's the lightest one that they've got. It's very, very skeletonized. As you can see, it's got a lot of excess material that's been carved out of here. It also has the scalloped top rail, but it doesn't have the rail going throughout the handguard, so that it saves you some weight there as well. The barrel is a Odin Works medium profile barrel. It's a 223 Wylde barrel, 10.5 inch. I've got a stainless steel gas block here with a stainless steel carbine length tube. Sterile Industries AFG, that's also aluminum. And then I've got the SLR Rifleworks Tri-Color muzzle brake, or it's not a muzzle brake, it's a compensator is what they call it. And it's got all the ports on the front to make sure that any of the blast is going to be in front of the shooter and not off to the sides or behind. Got some Magpul Pro sights over here, so metal sights. Obviously the Magpul Pros are awesome. They're a little bit on the pricey side, but they just feel a lot better than the standard M-Bus. Raptor charging handle, and I've got a Romeo 4 here that will also be able to co-witness with the Magpul sights. So all in all, sick ass build. I have not fired it yet. I've function tested it and everything seems to be working flawlessly, so I would hope that when I take it out to the range it'll function as such. But what do you guys think? Flip it over to the other side now. Even though I've got a magazine in here, I've got nothing in the barrel. So for those of you safety nerds, just letting you know. So again, The CNC trigger, what's nice about that is that it's got the screws that actually fix it in place, so it does not wiggle around. Doesn't need any adjustment over time. I've got everything, every set screw in here, everything that needs to be held down tight for long term has got blue Loctite on it. So I didn't want to take any chances because it is a small package, so obviously you're going to get a lot of wear and tear over time, just from, you know, the recoil and the blast and all. So that's the build. Oh, the lower parts kit was from Sterile Industries. It's the it's their enhanced lower set. Wanted to, you know, go all black basically. I didn't want anything besides the bolt carrier and the barrel to be something that's not black, because I wanted everything aesthetically on the interior of the gun to show through, but I wanted the outside of the gun to be as matte as possible, just to kind of give it that contrast. So didn't go with a lot of you know, the different components on the lower parts kit that would have had some funky different colors and stuff like that. I wanted to kind of keep that simple to focus the attention where it belongs, which is the BCG, and then the barrel and muzzle brake. So basically the guts of the gun. So let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next new edition.